Hey guys, so today we are going to be talking about Amber. Um, we have seen her crashing out over the last, week, couple, week, just about. Um, and she has made a whole lot of claims. She has said a lot of stuff. But one of the biggest things that she has been irritated with is that she keeps saying, I am the victim this time, guys. Why are you not believing me? You should believe me. She even berated Rachel and said, Rachel, you're a girl. I'm a girl. Why are you not believing me? And so I wanted to go over and take a look at some things because some things have happened over the last 24 hours that I think everybody was expecting to have happen. I just didn't expect it to happen quite to the extreme that Amber has taken it. So let's go ahead and we're going to look over here and look at a few things, then we're going to discuss some stuff. So this is Amber's channel that we're on, and we're on the page for her live streams. And when we go down and look, she's deleted everything. The newest one we have is from 8 days ago, the Girl Boss one. Come hang with me. Um, what in the world? I'm back. So all of the crash outs over Emily have been deleted. Now, one of the things that I wanted to look at is where's this at? Okay, so she says, "Oh, this is bad." This is the stream where she was talking about um, about Aunt Tammy and making the allegations that she made. Now, we also have this one here where she was addressing the inappropriate joke that she made that everybody thought was about Casey. These two are still up for the world to see. However, everything involving Emily is down. Now, we're going to go over here to her post. So, 7 hours ago, right now it's currently, I live in the same area as Amber, so it is currently 6 a.m. where I'm at. This was posted 7 hours ago, so what is that? 11 p.m. midnight when this was posted. So we're going to read this post and then we're going to talk about a few things. So it says, I need to address something that has become a topic of conversation online. As you might have seen, there's been a lot of discourse between myself and Emily in which feelings were hurt and emotions controlled. I want to clarify an important point that I think may have been lost among the chaos. Emily, to my knowledge or belief, has never intentionally caused someone's health to decline, nor has she ever intentionally caused somebody to die. I do not believe that she would ever want to cause somebody's health to decline or to die. She has always shown care regarding my health and been a very caring person in that way. Any statement to the opposite effect does not align with what I believe about Emily at all. She has never deserved the kind of hate or accusations that have been happening in the last year and a half. Lastly, I want to remind my audience and the Reaction Channel audience that while the drama is entertaining to you, um, there are real people with real lives behind it. Please do not make this worse for anyone involved. To do so is harmful, not helpful. These past few days have been extremely painful for the both of us, and I need everyone to know that I will be continuing to take some time to pause, reflect, and focus on moving forward in a healthier way. Thank you to everyone who's shown kindness and understanding during this time. Okay, so first of all, we've read it all the way through. I want to go through and I want to kind of talk about this piece by piece, and then also talk about why I have a big issue with what Amber has done and now with this statement. Um, so she says, I need to address something that has been the topic of conversation online. As you might have seen, there's been a lot of discourse between myself and Emily in which feelings were hurt and emotions controlled. Okay, there's been no discourse between the two of them. She is presenting this as if she's on her platform and Emily is on her platform, and they are speaking back and forth to each other, and that we have interjected ourselves into this. That is not the case. Emily has gone to reaction channels and handed them all of the information. This has not been a discourse between her and Emily for a very long time now. It has involved other people, and they chose, their actions brought Gorl World into this. It brought reaction channels into this. So there's really been no discourse between those two. And I think she's setting it up that way to say that, the reason that things got the way that it did were because reaction channels were involved when they shouldn't have been. We were involved from the beginning. That's how Emily was voicing her side of the argument and showing her proof. So right there, that is a complete fallacy that this was a discourse just between the two of them. And then she goes on to say, I want to clarify an important point that I think may have been lost among the chaos. Okay, she's acting as if everybody was taking some other side. Like we're picking one random fact and running with it, and we're completely overlooking everything else. And that's not the case. Um, and again, she is trying victim Lynn all the way. This has to be made so that, she is walking things back to get herself out of trouble, but we are doing it in a way that keeps us the victim. Because that's what we have to do at the end of the day. We have to be the victim. We have to be seen as poor, pitiful, mistreated Amber Reed. Um, She says, Emily, to my knowledge or belief, has never intentionally caused someone's health to decline, nor has she ever intentionally caused someone to die. I do not believe that she would ever want to cause somebody's health to decline or to die. She has always shown care regarding my health and been a very caring person in that way. Any statement to the opposite effect does not align with what I believe about Emily at all. Okay, so we're going to stop right there before we get any further. So, Amber is the one who came out and made accusations about Emily when it comes to Emily's previous partner who has passed away. Those were words out of Emily's mouth. I mean, not Emily, Amber's mouth. Amber is also the one who came out and said she kicked me. She used abusive language with me. She is a vile person. She would force me to eat. She wanted me immobile. She prefers her women on oxygen tanks and unable to move. Those were all Amber's words. That's what came out of Amber's mouth. So nothing got lost in the chaos. And any statements that people have been making about Emily and Emily's behavior has been based off of what Amber has said. So again, we're trying to walk this back as fast as we can. She goes on to say she's never deserved the kind of hate or accusations that have been happening in the last year and a half. Okay, well, here's the thing. And once Amber left Wisconsin, and we assumed that her and Emily had split up, even if they were still being friends behind the scenes. Most of the conversation, most of the talk, went to just Amber. What happened to Rarity? When are you going to talk about Rarity? Why didn't you help Emily look for Rarity? Like, that was the conversation. People had really stopped, in general, talking about Emily. Because why would we need to talk about Emily? Emily was no longer a main side character. So there was really nothing there for us to discuss regularly. So a lot of these accusations and stuff, everything came forward when Amber started opening her mouth. Because until that point, everybody was talking about, I cannot believe Amber's behavior. I can't believe what Amber did to the cat. I cannot believe the way that Amber spoke to her. I can't believe that Amber would keep her without sleep. That was the conversation. She's the one that brought all of these accusations forward to get the spotlight off of her and to make herself look like the victim and to put everything onto Emily. She did the same thing with Aunt Tammy. She came out and spewed all of the stuff about Aunt Tammy, thinking that it would get the spotlight off of her. People demanded proof, and she got mad because that's not what happened. Then it says, lastly, I want to remind my audience and reaction channel audience, all the drama is entertaining to you. There are real people with real lives behind it. Please do not make this worse for anyone involved. To do so is harmful, not helpful. Okay, let's talk about harmful and not helpful. And I discussed this with Foodie as well. Amber came out and made all of these claims of abuse. She then said, I don't need to show you proof. You should just believe me. I am the victim this time. Well, here's the thing, and this is just the fact of the matter. Someone coming from a background of DV, I had to get a victim's protective order for my safety. Did it do a whole lot of good? No. But I needed it on file in case anything happened later down the road. Now, for me to get that, I walked before a judge and I said, Judge, this is what I've been experiencing. And the judge said, oh my goodness, that sounds horrible. I feel so badly for you. Now, it did not end there. The judge then said, what proof do you have to bring before me? What do you have to show me that what is coming out of your mouth is true? And I had to stand there and I had to give all of my proof. I then had to have a judge sit there, look at my proof, and decide if my proof was worth the order or not. Was there enough to substantiate a protective order on my behalf? And there was. She wanted to have to give no proof. Even in a court of law, she would have to give some kind of proof because we, the courts do not believe victims just because victims say something. There's generally has to be evidence. She never gave us any evidence. She just screamed that she was the victim, and why wouldn't we believe her? I am the victim this time. Well, I guess that means that every other time she wasn't the victim because it was only this time she was the victim. But now we are completely walking this back. I'm sorry, the accusations that I made against my ex were very strong and very serious, and I have never walked them back. I also had proof to back up every single one of my claims. Amber made some very serious and very strong accusations against Emily, and she never showed proof outside of her journal and randomly showing that Emily called her bad names. Bad names that Amber calls reaction channels regularly if we want to talk about vile words and abusive words being used towards other people. But here's the thing, and this is why it is so harmful. We have people like Foodie and Amber that are online and on live streams claiming abuse and screaming it at the top of their lungs and screaming that they are such victims and they are so mistreated. And then we immediately walk back the entire thing. It never happened. Guys, I was just hungry. Guys, I was confused. I was caught up in the chaos. I was just swept away by the drama. This type of behavior is what makes it so hard for people to believe victims. This is why victims have to work so insanely hard to show proof. It is on the victims to provide all of the evidence, to provide all of the proof. You have no idea how hard I had to work to get my protective order, to keep that protective order being followed because it was regularly broken. It was me having to constantly stay in contact with the police officers in the court system. It was me that was having to move and change my phone number a million times and to hide from my ex. It is on the victims, especially in the state of Oklahoma, which is where Amber is. It is on the victims to provide that proof and to fight for themselves. And we have to work hard for it. And a lot of times, all of that fighting doesn't even do us any good. But people like Amber sit here and scream abuse, abuse, abuse. And then we walk it back and we say that it was all a lie. I I can't. You know, if she wanted to claim that those accusations were still true, but that they shouldn't have been said, then she should have said, you know, I spoke on things that should not have been brought to the internet. It should have been kept private, and for that I am sorry. You know, I ask that you let us deal with this behind the scenes and not in public. But that's not what we're getting. Instead, we are getting her completely walking it back. And she's now also saying, you know, if you guys continue to make this work, if you continue talking about it, if this continues getting covered, you are being harmful instead of helpful. Honey, you have done enough harm for victims that it is absolutely ridiculous. Um, she then goes on to say, these past few days have been extremely painful for both of us, and I need everyone to know that I will be continuing to take some time to pause, reflect, and focus on moving forward in a healthier way. Thank you to everyone who's shown kindness and understanding during this time. Okay, the only way that she is going to move forward in a healthier manner, and to pause and reflect, she needs some intense therapy. She needs to get into therapy. She needs to stick with it. She needs to get all of her stuff under control. I personally think she needs to see a therapist for the narcissistic abuse that, because she has the traits of it, and that's what I see in how she treated Emily. But I think she also needs to realize that screaming victim when you are not a victim does nothing but damage the reputations of victims around you, which is really sad. And I don't know that she will ever see that. Um, so that's what we have to cover with Amber today. So far last night, Foodie went live for a little bit. Haven't heard a whole lot from Quirky. So it looks like this is going to be our top news story for the day until we have somebody else act up for a little bit. So thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning. And until I see you again, I'm going to remind you that I need you to be good and behave yourselves. But if you can't, at least do it right and make me proud. Then post it online so we can talk about it later. Bye, guys.